Yo, what is going on, guys? KrypticTMG back with a brand new video, and today we are going to be discussing the issue that we've covered in the past. You guys may have seen this video that I did before. Well, now again we are going to cover the same topic. This time we're going to be talking about the LMP3s and the sort of unfortunate circumstance whenever we go to do a mixed multi-class race, particularly right at the start. It is just chaos, and it's like we just cannot get away from it. Now, I was almost certain before these LMP3s came out that they wouldn't put the LMP3s and the GT3s in the same races, because there's just not that big a difference in pace. And you know, we were already having some issues with the LMP2s and, you know, crashes and just basic carnage at the start of the race. But it seems as if that just wasn't really noted. And yeah, we are doing a bunch of races now with the LMP3s in, and it is definitely a lot worse. I mean, it is a crash fest, race after race after race. Now, if you were able to get through at the beginning, then a lot of the times you may be okay to survive the whole race, but getting through in the beginning is the problem. And again, the gap between the GT3s and the LMP3s is not really big enough. We're literally right on top of them, right at the back. And as you guys already know, the majority of guys towards the back of the LMP3 field are either extremely on the slower side or they're not very experienced. So we just having to dodge crashes on a race by race basis, man. It's almost, I almost want to say it's almost every single race. And okay, there's probably a few where I've had where there's been no carnage at the beginning, but at least 75-80% all I see is crashes, you know. And it's not just me, man. You could jump on, you can watch any streamer of your choice doing, for instance, the intermediate silver race, which is at Silverstone at the moment. Just watch them at the start, you'll see it for yourself. It's nearly always crashes at the beginning. And for one, it just comes down to the gap between the GT3s and the LMP3s is just not big enough. It needs to be a lot bigger. We need at least like a 5-second gap, something where it gives you a chance to react to what's happening in front of you. And of course, you know, a lot of these guys, I don't know, it's as if, you know, they pick these harder classes to drive, and then they get in those cars and just completely just struggle to keep the car on track, struggle under braking. You know, it's I don't know, it just spoils the racing for everybody else, particularly when, you know, you can have a very strong GT3 field where, you know, most of those guys are definitely like split one worthy, very good drivers, but then they're just in the mix with some of the just lesser experienced drivers at the back of the LMP3 field with no spaces. And to be honest, half the time we're still can end up faster than these guys, even though they're in a faster class. I mean, we did a race around Brazil, I think it was last week or whatever, and there was genuinely a person that was behind the GT3s on race pace. He was literally slower than the GT3s, but what would happen is he would catch you in all the fast corners and then get past you, but then as soon as he gets past you, lock up and go straight on, and then you're trying to avoid him. And it was happening for a good 13-14 laps before he actually fully binned it. But it was like he kept on getting in the way, but you kept on having to let him pass because he was so much quicker through the corners. But then when it got to the braking zones, he was just all over the place. And it's just like, bro, like, I don't know. As I said before, it always comes off as a rant, and I guess it is, but they do, I personally feel like they do need to either give them their own race, or they have to do something with the safety ranking and driver rating in each car class, because it's very annoying being like a split one GT3 driver, and the majority of the time you are literally playing dodgems, trying to miss the slower guys in the LMP3s that just don't mind wiping you out. And I've seen this on so many occasions. If I can tell you how many incidents I've seen just over a week of racing at one track, and you just see it almost every single race. You know, it's just like it's spoiling the enjoyment in, you know, the 30-minute races times 2 fuel where you got to make the pit stops. A lot of the time, whether it's you getting taken out or your main competition getting taken out, it kind of ruins the race literally from lap 1. And then of course people are going to be losing a bunch of driver ranking and stuff like that. And yeah, it's just it's so annoying. And I guess even for the LMP3 drivers, right, I'm pretty sure it's pretty annoying for them when they are, you know, catching GT3 drivers. And let's say you get some GT3 drivers that don't even try and get out of the way, and depending on the track, they can be quite difficult to overtake, because let's face it, the GT3s can brake a lot later. So if you're not able to, you know, get at the side of a GT3 before the corner comes, you're probably not going to outbrake them either. So I'm pretty sure there's a lot of guys in the LMP3s that wish they had their own race that was, you know, half an hour long with a pit stop and stuff like that. And yeah, I feel like they need to do something about it, man. It's getting beyond the joke. It's literally getting beyond the joke now. The amount of crashes. And I don't know what happened before when, you know, was it a few months back where they definitely made an effort to give a bigger gap between the car classes. And I feel like they should make a big effort, especially between the GT3s and the LMP3s, because the speed difference is quite close. What I've noticed is that on tracks that don't have like a plethora of really fast corners, there's not a massive pace difference, especially between the guys at the back of the LMP3s and the guys at the front of the GT3s. There's not a big pace difference at all. It's very, very close. So sometimes you end up racing these guys, and it's the most annoying thing possible, probably for both parties, you know. If there's a track like Silverstone, a lot of the times, a lot of fast corners, so they make up a lot of time. But for the most part, you know, when we was doing Brazil, it was so hard, and I think that was LMP2s and LMP3s. So I personally feel like the car classes should be maybe LMP3s with LMP2s, and then hypercars with GT3s, because at least then, you know, the faster classes they're quite a bit faster, so it's they get out of the way a lot quicker. They're out of your hair a lot quicker, so you don't have to really worry as much about turn 1 because they're so much faster. They're sort of out of the way. But now at the moment, it's like you have to, the whole first lap, whenever I did Brazil, the whole entire first lap, you were still right on the GT3s. Like literally after a lap, I think it took like three or four laps for the LMP3s to finally start pulling away at Brazil, you know. And it's just too much, because you just end up the whole time just dodging them. And there's been so many cases where they just cost you wins, or they cost you podiums, cost you good results, and it's just like, bro, we shouldn't even be in the same vicinity on the same lap racing each other. It just doesn't make any sense, you know. So I would love for them to have a little look at the car classes that they put together, and maybe juggle that around a little bit, because to me it doesn't really work having the GT3s and the LMP3s together. It's not working for me, you know. As bad as the LMP2s are, they are still quite a bit faster as well. So if it's like hypercars, LMP2s with the GT3s, I can totally understand it, even though I still believe that there needs to be a separate ranking for all the different car classes, because, you know, you can rank up in a GT3, doesn't mean you're going to be any good once you jump in any of those higher powered cars with no ABS. In fact, they're probably slightly more difficult to drive, so you would think that, you know, a safety rating in those cars would be different from just a car with ABS, which you can literally just slam on the brakes, you know. Yeah, like, I know everyone's experience is different. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that drive the hypercars or the LMP2s, LMP3s, and they feel like all the GT3s are in the way and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure they're having a similar experience, but just the other way around. But as I said, there's maybe in speed, so much less of a difference between the LMP3s and the GT3s that it causes way more issues than what even I was seeing before with the LMP2s, and even that was bad. But this at the moment, it's like, bro, just trying to get through lap 1 at the moment is just annoying. And when you think about Silverstone, it's not even like a slow first corner where you would expect people to, you know, get taken out because there's a big braking zone. Silverstone's a pretty fast sweeping turn 1, and we're still getting chaos. Like, I was in a race just the other day, and like literally before we even got to turn 2, it's like 9-10 people retired already. You know what I mean? It's like, oh man, like, it's very, very hard to understand why they've put these two classes together, knowing that the difference is not that big. So if you are someone who drives the LMP3s and you're 3 seconds a lap off the post, chances are, depending on the track, you're going to be right in the midst of the leaders of the GT3, you know. And yeah, it just causes problems, man. And it, to me, it needs to be addressed. Something needs to be done, personally, because you cannot keep going on like this. I see so many people just get their races ruined, and sometimes it just makes you want to switch the game off, because it's just like, bro, I've done this race, you've qualified well, you go into the race, you get to turn 1, you don't even get to turn 2, you're backwards because some LMP3s have spun out, or they've hit the brakes in just random places, you know, wiped out 3 or 4 people from the GT3s. And you think, bro, this is a joke. And then you leave, and then you register for the next race, and then the next race exactly the same, took out. And then it's just like, bro, you know what, I'm just getting off, there's no point, you know. And it happens so much. It literally happens so much. I see more crashes than I see normal starts. And again, people might say that it's not the LMP3s themselves ain't to blame, you gotta blame the individual drivers, but at the end of the day, if you don't really need to rank up that high to drive an LMP3 or whatever, then that's what you're gonna get. You're gonna get inexperienced people making mistakes in those cars, and it's gonna start costing other people from slower classes. It's gonna start costing them their ranking and their DR, their safety rating. So I don't know, man. Like, I just feel like it's time to maybe switch things up a little bit. Just have a few of those things in mind the next time they put together a update, or the next time they put together the daily races. Just think about, okay, do these cars actually work together? Because the GT3s and the LMP3s do not work on the same track at the same time. For these 30-minute races, they don't work. It's too much at the end of the day. So hopefully there's something they look into, man. I hope personally that they make some changes there. Of course, we were already struggling before with the LMP2, so now it's even more of an issue. And I swear to God, me and my friend Carl, I was literally arguing this with him before this update came out, saying, bro, there's no way they're gonna put the LMP3s with the GT3s, because they've already seen what happens with the LMP2s and the GT3s a lot of the time. Is quite a lot of carnage. I did not think they would actually do it, but they've done it. They've actually done it. So it's, yeah, I don't know, man. It's a weird one, but we will see. Hopefully they have a look into it. I would like them to. I'm sure most of you guys who do the GT3s and even some of the LMP3 drivers, I'm sure you would want maybe no LMGT3s in your way, especially when you coming up on tight tracks with lots of braking zones and you just cannot get the maneuver done because you're not able to brake where the GT3s brake. I'm sure you guys would love to have your own race, own 30-minute race with your own strategies and stuff without having it compromised by having GT3s in it. So I don't know, man, like, it's just a small thought process that I feel like they should make a change. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. Anyway, guys, it's KrypticTMG. Like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to catch my videos first. And peace. You don't, I know, you know, you don't know the dudes that I know dudes that will run up on a man, stab him up with a biro. Flames of fire, I'm hot like a pyro. Them man know that I'm show. Don't make man flip and turn to a psycho, cause I get messy like Lino.